So yesterday we have completed the configuring settings for automatic payment program. Now today we will see the end user transactions. Let us post some invoices, then we will see how the system will print the checks by executing the automatic payment program. Invoice posting, F-43. Document date is 7/10/2022. Type is KR. Company code SSKV. Posting date 7/10/2022. Period 7. Currency INR. Posting key 31. The account is 17003021. The account is 17003021. Click on enter. The amount is 1,50,000. Business area SSKV. Payment terms 0001. Baseline date 7/10/2022. Text being goods purchased. Text being goods purchased. Posting key 40. The account is 2,120,000. Click on enter. The amount is as this. Business area SSKV. Text plus. Click on save. So let us post one more invoice for the same vendor. Document date is 7/10/2022. Type is KR. Company code SSKV. Posting date 7/10/2022. Period 7. Currency INR. Posting key 31. Account is 17003021. Click on enter. The amount is 1 lakh. Business area SSKV. Payment terms 0001. Baseline date 7/10/2022. Text being goods purchased. Posting key 40. The account is 2,120,000. Click on enter. The amount is as this. Business area SSKV. Text plus. Click on save. Now let us display the line items FBL1N in the vendor account. See, there are 2 open items. So total you have to pay 2,50,000. Now we will see how to execute the automatic payment program to print the check for these invoices. So before that, right? Before executing the automatic payment program, we have to understand what happens in the automatic payment program executions. So there are different phases, right, in which the automatic payment program is executed. 4 pages are there. Number 1, parameters. Number 2, proposal. Number 3, program. Number 4, print. So these are the 4 phases. At each phase, what happens? Here in the parameter space, right? In this phase, the user enters the selection criteria, such as company codes, payment methods, next payment run date, and vendor number range to be considered in the payment run. That means here we have to tell the system for which company codes the system has to execute the payment program, what are the payment methods to be considered, and who are the vendors who are to be analyzed in the payment program. So all this information is entered in the parameters phase. These are called selection parameters. Then number 2, proposal. So based on the parameters entered, the system identifies the vendors who have become due as on the date of executing the program. And for every vendor, it identifies only those invoices which have become due. This is called proposal. This is called proposal. See, based on the parameters entered, first the system identifies who are the vendors that have become due as on executing the payment program. Then for every vendor, it will identify only those invoices which have become due today or which have become due as on the date, right? Say for example, so company code, these are the parameters. Company code SSKV, right? Run date today, 7 Jan 2022. Payment method C. Then vendors 17003012, 170030 3100, right? 80 vendors we have entered, right? So these are called selection parameters. These are called parameters, right? Then based on these parameters, the system will identify only those vendors who have become due today. So out of these vendors, for example, today, vendor number 17003021 has become due. Then vendor number 17003025 has become due. Then vendor number 17003045 has become due. Then vendor number 17003055 has become due. So out of these 80 vendors, right? Today, only these 4 vendors have become due, right? Then for every vendor, the system also identifies the invoices which have become due today. For example, for this vendor number 17003021, right? Invoice number, amount. So invoice number 110, amount 50,000. Again, invoice number 125, amount 60,000. Again, invoice number 175, 30,000. So for this vendor, 3 invoices have become due, right? Then for the second vendor, 17003025, right? These are the invoices that have become due. Like invoice number, amount. Invoice number 145, the amount is 10,000. Invoice number 147, the amount is 85,000. Invoice number 148, the amount is 75,000. So for the vendor 17003025, these are the invoices that have become due, right? Then for the vendor 17003045, right? These are the invoices that have become due. Invoice number, amount. Invoice number 750, amount is 1 lakh. Invoice number 752, amount is 1,50,000. Then for the next vendor, these are the invoices that have become due. Invoice number amount. Invoice number 121, right? 2 lakhs. Invoice number 125, 3 lakhs. So here, this is called proposal. So in the first phase, the user enters these parameters, right? Now, based on these parameters, the system will identify only those vendors who have become due. So out of these vendors, 4 vendors have become due, right? Then this is called proposal. Then for every vendor, it will identify only those invoices which have become due. This is called proposal. This is called proposal. Clear, no? Then we can edit the proposal and we can display the proposal. So in the editing function, we can change the payment method, house banks, and account ID. And we can block an invoice for payment also. Say, for example, right, for this vendor 17003021, right, I don't want to make the payment on the invoice number 125 because there is a dispute regarding the quality on the goods received against this invoice. So I don't want to make the payment for the vendor 17003021 on this invoice. Similarly, for the vendor 17003055, I don't want to make the payment on this invoice because on this invoice also there is a quality dispute. So these invoices can be blocked, right? So whatever the invoices, right, you want to block, they can be blocked. This is called editing the proposal, right? So in the editing function, we can also change the account ID, we can change the house bank, etc., right? Till now clear? Then, so here, third phase is program. Once the proposal is verified and authorized, say for example, this proposal is generated by the lower level employee, right? Then that proposal is sent to some higher level employee who has to accept that proposal, who has to authorize that proposal. So the proposal is analyzed by the higher level employees, and if the higher level employee, suppose for example, manager finance. So if the manager finance thinks that some invoices are not to be paid, then he will write his recommendations on the proposal, then that is sent back to the lower level employee. Then based on the proposal, right, he can block the invoices. After that program, once the proposal is verified and authorized, the user executes the payment program. As a result, the following accounting functions are automatically affected. This is very, very important from the interview point of view, right? This slide is very important from the interview point of view. So they will ask you, what are the impact of executing automatic payment program? What are the accounting functions that will be taken care in the automatic payment program? Then you have to say this answer. All the vendor due line items for which checks have been printed are cleared. Then the vendor reconciliation accounts are updated. The bank accounts are updated. The check register is updated. Vendor account balances are updated. The payment documents are generated, means the accounting entries are posted. So all these 6 accounting functions will be automatically taken care of. Then print. So in this phase, fourth phase is print. In this phase, the system prints the checks, payment advisors, and payment summary. So these are the 4 phases. Now we will see one by one, right? Just a minute. Now, we will see each phase one by one, right? Then execution of automatic payment program. Transaction code F110. Run date is equal to 7/10/2022. Within brackets, current date. So it is always current date. Sorry. Identification is equal to SSKV. So for each run, we have to give an identification. Then see here, parameters. If you see the status, no parameters are entered as it. So first we have to enter the parameters. Click on parameter tab. Company code is equal to SSKV. Payment method C, check. Next to payment date 8/10/2022. Vendor is equal to 17003021. Vendor is equal to 17003021. Click on save. Click on save. Then click on additional log tab. This is called additional log. Under the required login type, select due date check. Select payment method selection all cases. Vendors 17003021. Click on save. Click on save. Go back. See, we can see the status parameters have been entered. Right now, here, how the system identifies the invoices which are to be paid today. We have to understand how the system will identify the invoices and also who are the vendors to be paid today. How the system will analyze. In the real time, right? See, we enter the vendor range. Enter range we enter, right? So 17003021 17003100. In that case, at the first instance, the system verifies whether there are any open items in the first vendor. It will go to FBL1M. There it will verify whether there are any open items in the vendor account. Suppose in the vendor account, there are no any open items. In that case, it will go to next vendor, vendor number 2. Again, in the second vendor also, it will verify whether there are any open items in the vendor account. Again, in the second vendor also, there are no any open items. In that case, it will go to third vendor. Again, in the third vendor, it will verify whether there are any open items. Like that, at the first instance, the system verifies if there are any open items in the vendor account. So let us verify the open items in the first vendor, FBL1M. Vendor 17003021. Company code SSKV. See, there are 2 open items in this vendor account. Now, from the open items, right, it will identify the payment terms. So while posting the invoices, we enter the payment terms, no? So from the open item, the system will identify the payment terms. From the payment terms, it will identify the credit period. And the credit period is added to the baseline date. Thereby, it determines the due date. So payment terms 0001 means payment immediately. Immediately means baseline date today. So today itself the payments to be done. Means the due date of the invoice is today only. Then run date is today. So if the due date determined by the system for the invoice is falling on or before the run date, the system will take that invoice into automatic payment program. Once the analysis is completed, right, it will go to next line item, right? So in this case, 1,50,000 invoice is due, right? Similarly, it will go to the next open item. From the further next open item also, it will identify the payment terms. From the payment terms, it will identify the credit period, and the credit period is added to the baseline date. Thereby, the due date is again today only. So run date is also today. So the second invoice also to be paid. So for this vendor, the system will identify these two invoices into automatic payment program. Once all the invoices in this vendor account are analyzed, it will go to the next vendor. Clear? That's how it will identify the invoices which are to be paid. Clear, no? Now, what is the significance of this next payment date? We have to understand that also. Here, some space is there, right? Please write down. Wherever you have the space, please write down. Put heading, next payment date. Put heading, next payment date. On the basis of the next payment date, on the basis of the next payment date, the system will print the check for those invoices also. The system will print the check for those invoices also, which may become overdue, by the next payment date, and on which the cash discount is also available, so that the cash discount is not lost. Means what? See, here we are executing the automatic payment program on every Friday, right? So today we are executing the payment program, right? So current date of execution of EPP. So today is what? 7/10/2022, right? Then, as per the policy, next payment date is what? 14th, right? So next payment run date is 14/10/2022. Okay. Now, there is one vendor, right? invoice amount is 1 lakh. So it's paid on 10/7/2022. We get 3% cash discount. This is the scenario. There is one vendor for whom we purchased the material for 1 lakh, 1 month back. And he said, if we make the payment on 30th day, he will give us 3% cash discount. So the due date of the invoice 30th day is 10/10/2022, right? Again, I'm repeating the situation scenario. In our company, we are executing the automatic payment program on every Friday. So today is 7th October. We are executing the payment program today. As per the policy, next we execute the payment program on 14/10/2022, right? In that case, there is one invoice for a vendor. Invoice amount is 1 lakh. And he said, if we make the payment on 10/10/2022, he will give us 3% cash discount. Till now clear the scenario? Now, today we are executing the automatic payment program. Today, is this invoice due? Is this invoice due today?
No.
Is this invoice due today?
No.
No. So system will not print the check. Okay. Then, as per the policy, when you are executing the payment program next, on 14/10/2022, on this day, this invoice is due but overdue. So the vendor will give us the cash discount only when you make the payment on 10/10/2022. If you make the payment on 14/10/2022, he will not do the cash discount. So we are losing the cash discount, right? In that case, what happens is, if you enter the 14/10/2022 in the next payment column, right, then the system will print the check for this invoice also, after reducing 3% cash discount with the current date. The system will print the check for this invoice also, after reducing 3% cash discount with the current date. So the system will print the check with the current date after reducing 3% cash discount. So you don't lose the cash discount, right? Now here the system will print the check for 97,000 today, right? Then today itself you have given the check to vendor, and the vendor is also having the account in the same house bank. So he deferred the check today, and today itself the funds have been transferred from your account to vendor account, and the check has been printed from the overdraft account. So from the overdraft account, the funds are transferred to vendor account today itself. But what is the due date? 10. That means the payment has been done to vendor for 4 days before. So you have to pay interest to the bank on 97,000 for 4 days. So the amount of cash discount is reduced by the amount of the interest you have to pay for 4 days on 97,000. So it is also a kind of loss, right? It is also not desirable. In that case, you have to give the check to the vendor only on 10th October. Even though the check is printed with today's date, 7th October, right? We have to keep this check with us, and on 10th October, you have to call the vendor and you have to give the check to him. In that case, how do we know the due date of this invoice? Right? For that only, we have done one setting. We have clicked on additional log tab. Same problem. The internet was not yet rectified from the provider side. Don't know what is wrong with the Airtel people. I'm using Airtel internet. Every time I have to log in. Here, click on additional log, right? We have clicked on additional log tab. There you have selected. There we have selected due date check. Required logging type, due date check we have selected. Means the system will maintain the log of the due date for all the invoices for which the checks have been printed. From that log, you can find the due date of this invoice. Then till 10/10/2022, you can keep the check with you. Then on 10/10/2022, you can hand over the check to the vendor. That is the significance of this next payment date. Clear? So still it will take another 45 to 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour to explain you this automatic payment program, right? This you will see in Monday class. From now onwards, we can't stop this program in between. And the server is not properly accessible. This we will see in Monday's class. Any questions from anybody? Okay, then see you tomorrow. See you Monday.